Everybody has their take on their issues with the modern woman. And for long standing, there's just been issues with modern society in general, but this is not to be constantly pointing and deflecting. It's the fact that for many years, just by default as a man, we have to be held accountable for our actions. And some of us, most of us, step up to the paint. And if not, the law is there to basically bring those gates down. Accountability in men is something that goes hand in hand, even if a lot of us don't want it that way because we just don't want to be held accountable. But accountability is something that is and should be always universal. But what I'm seeing lately is not just the lack of accountability, because I know accountability has even become a buzzword when it comes to the relationships between black men and black women in America. The thing is that I'm seeing a lot of black women not being accountable for why things are on the outs so much when it comes to coexisting with black American men for the most part. Because it's always do as I say, not as I do. A lot of you try to be mothers to a lot of these black men out here who don't need you as their mom. But the ones that need you as a somewhat mom are the ones that you choose to make the worst decisions with. And that is procreate with. He ain't there. You fought. I don't understand the whole mystique of this. You fought like hell to get the attention of a man who just pretended, or he just outright just telling you he don't give a shit about you by his words and his actions. And you end up having a child with somebody like that. And then everything really goes to hell. And guess what happened? You're stuck with the child. Unfortunately, you're in court with this guy. And you siphon him for resources. But the one resource that's very important, just as much as it is monetarily, is time. And you can have all the money in the world coming in from this guy, but your child will still suffer because you chose to procreate with somebody who don't give time to them. And another bad habit is you got to stop raising your kids. I'm sorry, you got to stop raising, especially your daughters. A lot of sisters, you got to stop raising your daughters to have this inherited disrespect for fathers out here, especially black fathers. We are proven to be the best fathers and the most hands-on when we are in our kids' life. Very hands-on. But all we keep getting drowned out by the ones who decide to be baby mother number 5 to a handful of pookies within certain sectors of black populace in America. You want to be baby mother number 5, and then you want to throw all black men under the bus, and then you want to really go hard at the brothers who are calling you out for this. And everything gets delegated to sex. Oh, these men don't want to help us out now because we denied them sex at some point. Not only did you deny the man sex, you denied the man your time, your love, your patience, everything that you expect from a man, we demand back. Not demand. We shouldn't even. Why did I say demand? Because it rhymes. Okay? Everything that two people should be investing into one another, you denied that to go chase somebody that I aforementionedly said they don't give a damn about you. But that turns you on. The oldest trope in a book. But a lot of you raise your daughters to have this inherited disrespect for fathers. And these kids grow up, and now they are the modern woman and that you see now that basically think men are disposable. That man that grew up with them, that worked as hard as he can to give her everything he can give her within his power, she don't have respect for it. She doesn't think that's good enough. See, it's a lack of respect. I look back on it, there's a lot of shit that I wanted as a child, but my mother was doing it by herself. I had to grow up and realize that when I got into my teens. She was doing so much by herself. I already knew my dad was a deadbeat because of life itself, just drugs, addiction, and his own choices. But the older I got, and when I started working at 15, I started realizing you got to work to get the shit that you want in life. And if you can't afford it, if that job, you got to try to get a better job, or you got to try to get educated. I at least had that mindset going. I knew that. So I didn't grow up thinking, like, oh, my mom, I resent my mom because my mom didn't do nothing for me. I could have been out on the goddamn street. If I went down this path of ungrateful behavior, I would be out on the street right now. I would be probably addicted to something right now. And a lot of black women today, a lot of modern women are very ungrateful for the men in their life. So they see their father struggling, working hard, and don't respect that or appreciate it or love it or see that he's doing that because he loves you and he would do anything for you. That father. This is why I say, like, they was like, there's a success rate in a 2-parent home is much higher. Yes, it is much higher, but modern women, a lot of them are getting more and more disrespectful and more dismissive of the effort that a lot of men put in to raise their children. And then they grow up and then they think the first instinct is to look for somebody who's better than their father. And when they got this mentality that since their father wasn't rich, everybody's better than their dad, this is the way they choose their men. And then you look at them and I'm like, are you kidding me? Look at you. Look at you. You built like the letter P. You built like SpongeBob. You got modern women online. I just saw something today on the Charles in Charge podcast, and he was talking about a woman was on there, a black woman, a black feminist, more than likely because she had the fucking septum piercing. That's like a dead giveaway. I'm sorry. You can be mad at me, but look, she was saying, how y'all upset about Lizzo talking about she's not in shape? But I turn on the NFL and I see these big men and stuff. I'm like, oh my God, you are comparing a guy who is big in stature, for a living, who eats, like Charles said, numerous insane amounts of calories to maintain that big muscular body that isn't chiseled like a bodybuilder but is functionally strong. You comparing that man at 6'5", 300 something pounds to a 5 foot something, 300 something pound artist who has access to the best trainers in the world to lose the weight, but she doesn't want to lose the weight because her fans will turn on her. She is trapped in her own body. You're comparing those. This is modern women today. Y'all want to change and move the goalpost, but want everything to just be handed to you. Let that been a whole bunch of black men talking about body positivity and trying to manipulate the whole outcome and preference of it. We get laughed out the damn building, and rightfully so, because we are an accountable gender, despite some pookies out there who don't want to be held accountable. The majority, we are accountable by default, like it or not. You, not so much. And if you're mad at that, you can scratch your ass and get glad. I'm so sick of every time a man airs his grievance out about something, even in the most humble manner or even in the most balanced manner, it's getting pushed back because a lot of women don't want to change. I've been watching a lot of different people Like, even when the image consultant was alive, Kevin Samuels, women call up there and have these insane demands. Oh, I want a kid. I want to be married, but I don't want to live with the guy. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? This is what we're dealing with today. Y'all want everything traditional without being traditional yourself. Or you want a guy to give you traditional traits, but you want to be as unorthodox as possible. You want to be as overweight as possible. And you just think a multitude of degrees and money will just negate everything. See, a guy with a good head on his shoulders, we don't care about that money like that. We were doing okay without you. Okay? It's great in modern society. We have to pool our resources together sometimes to get shit done. And I've heard other, panderers say this shit like, oh, well, of course, it's always in a woman's nature to wait for the guy at the finish line. That may be, but let me tell you something. You want to wait for somebody at the finish line that's like, yeah, hurry up. The fuck are you taking so long for, nigga? This is how you do. You want to wait for somebody like that, or you want to wait for that person like, come on, baby, I know you got this. You got this, baby. I believe in you. Get up, baby. I got you. And that's what's lacking in modern women today. They want all the benefits, but they have none of the support. And support for a man that's out there ain't just something monetarily. It ain't a pair of socks or drawers or some power tools. That's just, y'all want to talk about, before I finish this up, you want to talk about gender roles? Every time you do something that is considered masculine, like knowing how to change a tire or playing a sport that's predominantly male, that's defying gender roles, right? And then I hear women talking about, well, there's not men out there. Like one of my friends said, men out there are afraid to defy gender roles. I'm like, hold up, men cook. Men know how to cook. Hell, a lot of them know how to cook better than women. That's why a lot of these restaurants out here all head chefs are men. Let's just keep it funky. And we know how to do other things too, but we don't advertise it because you women are a bunch of hypocrites. You will mock a man for doing something that you said defy gender roles. He just do it to survive. He don't need to advertise it. See, y'all want to wear this so-called defiance on your sleeve and be praised for it, whereas you mock a man for defying his. And I'm not talking about anything that's related to being in the Alphabet Academy or being effeminate. I'm talking about just things that are just basically normalized by specific genders. Oh my God. Like, it's just too much shit. The lack of respect that's been generational, and you wonder why a lot of men are getting passports and trying to find love elsewhere. And while I might not be one that just think like, look, that's not going to be a end-all be-all solution to it. You got to be right within. You got to be right within. You got to know how to treat a woman before you go look for a woman. And knowing how to treat a woman is also meaning that you got to know how to garner respect. You got to give and earn. You got to give to earn respect. Something that seems to be only a one-way street. But I digress. Anyway, you know what? It's your boy Fury. I'm here. And then now I'm out. Peace.